Hey everyone. We see a few guests arriving already. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to do a little poll while we're waiting on everybody to see how you're feeling. I'm going to launch this poll, and as people join, we'll just see some participation. Can you guys see the poll results yet or no?
No.
No, okay, all right. So it's once we get some people in. Nancy, how are you doing? I just saw your picture, so I know you're out there.
I'm doing great. This is my first ShowMe50 or Lean In
Okay,
event.
great. Well, we are so happy to have you. Let's see, you know, this is all a work in progress, right? How we're learning to adjust to all this technology. So we have to have be a bit forgiving for all the things that can and do go wrong. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Elba. So happy to have you with us. You should be seeing a poll as you log in on your screen that asks us how we're feeling today and right now. So please do join us and register your vote. I've got that at 6 o'clock, so we can just give it a couple more minutes and we'll just go ahead and get started. I like to start on time so we can end on time and respect people's personal time. Let's see, oops. Oh, so I'm admitting people as they arrive. Okay, well, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Let's see if anyone else sees the poll. We're trying to understand kind of how everybody's feeling. How are you feeling today? Mostly good, just okay, or not feeling so great? What we like to do at our meetings, and in particularly Lean In, is to make sure that we are aware and that we recognize how people are feeling. Just because one person's feeling great doesn't mean everybody is. And so being aware of the diversity of emotions on our teams is very valuable in trying to connect with people and getting the results that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I am going to ask for a volunteer, actually. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and we can kind of see how everybody's been feeling today. So I'm going to share the poll results so you can see that most people are feeling mostly good. But you can see that some people, you know, aren't feeling so great. So keep that in mind as we talk through, because you never know who you might be talking to in your breakout session that maybe they're not feeling so great. So just being sensitive to other people's things that are going on in their lives. Okay, so let me close that. Okay, so as we talk, I don't have a chat moderator today, so I'm just going to be navigating it here. Now, we've got quite a few people going. If someone out there wants to volunteer and be my chat moderator, which means that you're simply looking at the chat window and engaging with us and letting me know when something is going on, some feedback that we want to give. So do we have anyone out there who wants to be a chat moderator for today and engage with both myself and our attendees? Any volunteers?
Hey, Elba, this is Kelly Gonter. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm happy to be chat monitor.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to find you on here. Let's see. Where's Kelly? There's Kelly. And I am going to actually also make you a co-host. Okay, and that is going to give you some superpowers, Kelly. So Kelly, what you should see, you know how your little participant window at the top?
Yep.
Or bottom, it tells you how many people there are, right?
Yep, 16.
If you click on that, it should also allow you to see that people might be waiting to get into the, it might say admit attendees. There aren't any right now, but that's okay. But if you see some, just click, you can just admit them or admit all. They're in the waiting.
Okay.
But I'll keep an eye on it too. So thank you, Kelly Gaunter, a peer of mine and a wonderful supporter of diversity and a great servant leader. And I appreciate you engaging with us. Okay, Kelly, thanks a lot. Keep an eye on that chat window and just speak up whenever you want to convey what people are thinking. Okay, so welcome to this Lean In Circle meeting by ShowMe50. It's about role playing when we hear biased things and what can we say. And the key is that we want to practice and actually say the words, because the more we say the words, no matter what they are, to a challenging situation, the more comfortable we become. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to role play, use our voices, and get more comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So here's our agenda. We're going to tell you a little bit about ShowMe50 and talk about some ground rules so that we're all very comfortable with each other. And then we're going to do a practice run together right here before I release you out into breakout sessions where you will on your own try these role playing. Okay, and then we will have a debrief, and then we'll talk a little bit about what our next possible topic could be for meetings like this. So does that sound like a game plan for you guys? Girls, gals? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about ShowMe50. So just real quick, many of you have come to a ShowMe50 event before, and you may already know this, so we'll keep it quick. ShowMe50 is the way that we think that we can achieve 50% women in leadership positions, because on the left side, we're going to work with the Lean In organization to help women improve their skills and their confidence. And then on the right side, we're going to teach employees, men and women, how to influence change in company policies and practices to reduce and mitigate the systemic bias that causes us to not truly have an equal level playing field for men and women. And so that's what ShowMe50 is about. We teach influencing skills. We teach people both the motivation to act through events, advocacy, and collaboration. And then we give you the ability to execute by using toolkits and strategically teaching you how to influence and encourage others to change behaviors. And you see the 4 areas on the right side. It's about gender bias education. The second one is ensuring things are a level playing field. So performance evaluations and hiring and selections, that it's all transparent and fair and equal access. 3 is gender neutral flexibility, which we got a lot of help from COVID, right? Companies who thought, well, gosh, maybe we can't do this so flexibly. Well, now we've proven that we can. And then the 4th one is executive commitment. How can we see our CEOs and their direct reports really commit to gender balance as a business imperative? It's not just about improving the workplace for women, but really enabling high performance teams through more inclusive cultures. And so that's what ShowMe50 is about. So Kelly is out there watching the chat room, and make sure I'm checking to make sure that there's nobody still waiting. Let's see, I see 1 person, so we'll admit you. So welcome everyone. Okay, so next slide is we're going to talk about some ground rules. So we have a wonderful chat moderator volunteer, Kelly Gaunter. Kelly, say hello to everybody, and you'll show up on the screen.
Hey, everybody.
Great, thank you, Kelly. So make sure, Kelly, you look out for comments and share with us what people are saying. We're going to have a supportive environment. In order to have more engagement in the chat screen, I'd like to propose something. When you agree with something that somebody is saying, put a bunch of plus signs in there. You know, 1+ you agree, many plus signs you really like the comments that they're making. That gives us engagement, and Kelly can let us know, hey, people are really liking that. And then use a star if you want to speak next. So just put an asterisk in the chat menu, and Kelly Gaunter will call on you and allow you to clearly speak, so we don't have people talking over each other. And then just remember that we always want to give others a chance to talk, so just be aware that we aren't taking control over the table, a seat at the table. And this happens to us often in meetings, right? You might have a person who is really taking control of the meeting and doesn't give a chance to other people to talk. So just keep that in mind as we engage. Okay, so let's continue. We want to talk about practicing what we're going to do here today. So here's a summary of what today is all about. We want to understand that when people say something that might be biased, how do we respond to it? Because initially we're surprised at things that people may say and we don't know what to say. So if we practice and we're prepared, then next time it happens to us, we can have a comeback. Right? So what we're going to do is that Lean In has this great tool online. It's 14 specific things that we might hear. And then they provide us with the words that we could say in response in a collaborative way. And we'll also learn about what's going on when people do say these things. And so we're going to swipe through the bias statements and the comebacks that we will make in return. Right? And we want to check our own snap judgments, because we all have unconscious biases. Our brains are just wired to react and respond based on our worldviews and the experiences that we've had. And so this overcomes our biases too. I mean, I'm going through hiring a person right now, and I will tell you that even I have to catch myself making these statements and having these thoughts that you would think me should be completely unbiased, but it's not possible. No human being can be unbiased. It's just what our brain does.
Hey, Elba.
Okay. Yeah.
If I could just interrupt for a second. This is a good question from Denise, and
Okay.
I wanted to go ahead and get this to you right away.
Perfect.
Is this meeting appropriate for solopreneurs or more applicable to employer-employee situations?
Oh, this is a great one. So I'm going to throw it back at you, because one thing we try to do is really engage people. So I know what my answer is. Let's hear from other people. Do you think that when we have bias statements that are made, are they more applicable just at work, or do you think they could be applicable to any situation, whether you're a solopreneur, meaning you run your own company individually? I'm assuming you probably have customers and other people you talk to, or maybe you don't even have a role in that type of environment. You have a different type of role. So I'd like to hear from the audience. What do you guys think? Is it applicable? What are they saying? Anything? Definitely.
Yeah. In the chat, definitely everybody's agreeing that it's appropriate for everyone in all situations. Applicable everywhere. You can address bias with your clients as well.
Yep, I agree. So thank you for that question. I think it is applicable everywhere. And in fact, you know what? This program of these 14 sayings was actually developed with the mindset of elections and thinking about the more that women run for office, which we are so happy to see them, they clearly are judged more harshly than men who do the same thing. And forget the politics, forget policy, just thinking about people and women and men who are running for office. Again, forget what their political affiliation is. We have seen in the few cases where women are up for some type of election, they are judged more harshly in the news, what they wear, and this was where it all started. But as I was reading the comments here, the 14 situations, I think they relate to work. I have heard people talk this way at work, both in the employer type environment, and even if you go to, for example, an after work networking event or meetings like with chambers of commerce or any type of professional development event, these comments are made of other people. And so when we hear it, now we're going to be prepared because we're going to practice. So, okay, so we're going to keep going. And Kelly, you're doing a great job. It looks like we have admitted most people, right? You've admitted a bunch, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're actually going to do a practice run, right? Let me make sure, because I did have, yep, we're going to do a practice run before we do our next poll. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to actually, maybe Kelly, you can do this for me, or no, I'm going to do it because I can copy and paste this into our chat window, so everybody will have it handy. So I'm about to copy and paste something in the chat window, and it's a link to this interactive web page where we are actually going to engage in a little bit. But for right now, we're going to do it together. So you don't have to do anything because I'm going to do it directly, and we're going to practice together, okay? But in the meantime, make sure that you copy and paste or at least copy that address there, because that's going to take you to the Lean In website where you will use this menu to work in your teams when we divide up into our breakout groups, okay?
So Elba, later after this call is done, are we going to be able to see the comments and responses or get the notes from this? Is it going to be recorded or anything?
Yes, in fact, it should be getting recorded as we speak. Let's see here. I had put to record. Let's see if it's recording. Let me see here.
It says recording at the top.
It shows it's recording.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Yes, I had set it that way, so that's good. Okay, so it's working. So yes. Okay, so I'm gonna flip back over here. Nope, that's that. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. So here's the live website, okay, everybody? So we're gonna practice this. And what we're gonna do, and you'll do this in your breakout sessions when we get there, is you're gonna do what we're gonna do. You rotate or swipe through each one of these, and it's going to give you the statement that's biased and what our comeback is gonna be. Okay, so I wanna make sure everybody feels comfortable doing it. So we're gonna do the first one. And you see on the screen, it says what you hear. And you see how you can hover over each one? And when you click on one, it goes to that one. So you can do this two ways. You can pick the one you want, or you can just swipe through. And I'm just gonna swipe through for this moment right now. So you see the arrow on the right. Can everybody still see the screen there? Yes?
I don't know that I'm seeing what you're seeing.
I'm seeing the actual website. So let's try this. So I'm going to,
It's not showing the website at the
Got
front.
it.
I think we're seeing your PowerPoint.
aha. So we are gonna switch and we are going to show this. I don't know why it doesn't let me show my whole screen. Okay, now you see the same image, but this is a live website. You see up in the upper left corner, it should say the name of an address, right?
Yeah.
It does.
Perfect. And now you see as I hover, each of these quotes is getting bigger. See that?
Yes.
Right? So you guys are going to be real good at this. You're going to practice. So when you get out in your breakout rooms, you won't have any technical difficulties. And if you do, you guys are together and I know you can solve them. But here we are. What we're going to do, you can either click on the one you want specifically, or you can click this right arrow and you can swipe through the 14 sayings. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so on the left, you can see there's a comment here about the part that they created this program thinking about women running for office, right? And they say how there's usually a lot more pushback on women than there is on men when they're up in the limelight running for office. And certainly you guys will remember when Hillary Clinton was running, how much she was talked about because of what she wore on any given event, right? And so you don't normally think about, well, gosh, what are men wearing? So that's an example. So let's go through the first one. And I'm going to pause here, actually, Kelly. Is there any comments or questions that are popping up yet?
No, everybody, it seems like we're just listening to what you're saying and
Okay.
figuring out how to use the site.
Okay, awesome. And then Kelly, if you don't mind, just keep an eye on that, the link I pasted, because maybe when we're ready to go to the breakout rooms, you can paste it in there again for me one more time. Okay, so here we go. Let's do our first one. See, we swiped. So here's the first thing that you might hear from people, whether it's in the elevator, which that won't happen anymore because we aren't working in the buildings at this time, really. What's up with that outfit, right? And so what might be something that you say when someone tells you, what's up with that outfit? Well, maybe we could say, let's focus on her ideas, not her clothes. So, I think that's a great comeback, right? And so what we're going to do right now, as I'm going to, Kelly, maybe since you have all the names viewing of who's on there, one thing we'd like to do is, let's see if anyone is willing to practice this together right here in front of everybody, where I'll ask what's up with that outfit, and I want someone to say the words back. Let's focus on her ideas, not her clothes. So we'll try that. Do we have any volunteers?
I'll go.
Okay, so Nancy, so I'm going to say, we're in, I don't know, we're in some meeting somewhere, right? Maybe at the coffee shop. And maybe it's even women. We do it to ourselves. And we look at this woman and she's wearing some loud outfit. And maybe we're overhearing that she's, talking, making a presentation of some kind in this area where they're at. So I say to you, man, what is up with that outfit, Nancy?
Elba, I thought the same thing, and I realized I was being so tacky. We need to focus on her ideas and not her clothes.
Love it, right? Focus on her ideas, not her clothes. So I like your interaction. I like how you added your own touch to it. Let's have I want to hear someone else practice and say it in their way. Who else wants to give it a try? Anyone?
I'll go.
Okay, all right. So that's Galena.
Yes.
Okay, so Galena, we're somewhere. Let's say it's really at a work meeting. Let's say we're on a Zoom meeting, and we're about to listen to a presentation, and we're chit-chatting beforehand, and someone on the Zoom makes a comment about, hey, yesterday I was watching, I don't know, some news show, and did you see, let's say it's a movie star, hey, so-and-so was up there talking about, I don't know, some of the protests that are going on. Did you see what she was wearing, Galena? My goodness, what's up with that?
I don't know. I didn't pay as much attention to what she was wearing, but what really stood out to me was the idea that she defended.
That's right. That's great. Right. So you kind of repeat what the person says, and then you just spin it around and flip it and talk about something else, which is focus on our ideas, not our clothes. Let's see for a minute why it matters here. So the great thing about this material from Lean In is that they explain to you why things are happening. And so what it says here is, can somebody read that out so that I'm not doing all the talking? Let's have a volunteer put a star in the chat menu, and then Kelly will call on you and read this out to us. Somebody out there, volunteer, put a star in the chat menu. Okay, that's okay. Okay, that's okay. I'll read it out. So listen, why does this matter when we say things like this? When women run for office, or like I said, in any other kind of situation, their appearance, dress, and personal style are subject to scrutiny. Whether these comments are critical, flattering, they take attention away from what really matters. And so this is also something interesting, right? They say it's not just that the statements might be critical, even if they're flattering, they take away from what see, their ideas, and their professional presence. And I might challenge you, if and when we do go back to work and you are in other meetings, as a solopreneur, when you are meeting with your clients and customers, and we once again have this engagement visually, let's check our own biases. And when we see a woman and she looks really sharp and we want to say, oh, where'd you get that purse? Oh, that outfit's so nice. Maybe we should think twice and ask ourselves, wow, okay, could I be perpetuating, more biases and more stereotypes around that women's appearance is more important than their substance? Okay, let's try one more. And then we're going to break out into our breakout rooms, and you all are going to flip through them all and practice this together and share ideas and experiences of where this has happened to you, whether you're the person making the statement or whether you've stepped in to counteract it. Okay, and then after we do all that, we'll come back and debrief, and each breakout session will tell us what they learned and what were some of the stories that happened while you were in your breakout session. So let's do another one. Her voice drives me crazy. That's what you hear somebody say, right? So what would we say? So this time I'm not going to read it first. I want somebody else to volunteer and just kind of put your touch on how would you respond if you overhear or you're directly involved with somebody saying that her voice drives me crazy. Let's have a star and have somebody out there give it a shot to repeat what it says here, which is what you would say. Any volunteers out there, Kelly?
I had an example. I did meet somebody in a network, and her voice drove me crazy for a minute until I heard what she had to say, and we became the best friends because she had so many fantastic ideas. So I could only share what my experience was. And
That's great.
forever, I couldn't wait till I heard the voice again because I knew it was one of wisdom.
Yep. Thanks, Evelyn. And you know, you bring up one of my own stories. I've known women who have a voice difficulty, right? Maybe they were born in a way that their vocal cords don't work right, or maybe they've had some kind of injury. So the way they talk is not even something they're choosing. You know, they were either born that way and that's their voice, or they've had some impairment along the way. And so when we criticize or focus on someone because of their voice, it's almost as if we are not being respectful of differences in people, right? And jumping to assume that one way to speak is the right way, whether you have a quiet voice or a loud voice, right? So what the idea here is, hey, let's focus on what she's saying, not how she's saying it, right? So
I have a question.
Yeah.
How can you maybe, it's, I guess, helpful to the extent that somebody actually articulates this kind of concern so that you can address it in a productive manner like we're practicing. But in particular, I've heard some complaints that women may speak with an upspeak so that it sounds more like a question and maybe it's less authoritative in what they're saying. And particularly in the legal industries in which I'm working or in the engineering industries, it can be seen as either a perceived lack of confidence or perceived lack of expertise. And I've heard people make those comments, but often not as directly as this. And so are there ideas or thoughts on what we might be able to do to counter that? I mean, I've heard of attorneys even going to voice coaches so that they can try to learn to talk like a man.
Oh my God. Thank you. That was Michelle, right? Was it? I'm sorry, I didn't see your name for a minute.
Yes, Michelle.
Michelle. Thank you so much, Michelle, for raising this very important point, which is that we have a lot of subtle cues and subtle biases that happen around us. And, you know, we may not even realize they're as strong as they are in the implication they have. So first of all, from an education piece, and if you think back to the ShowMe50 approach to influence change, the very first quadrant is bias education. And this is an example where we need to help our peers and our leaders to understand that there isn't just one way to lead, one way to talk, one way to execute. You know, you can get results in a variety of different ways, and you can talk differently and still be a leader. I'm going to tell you this quick example, which the former chief marketing officer and president of e-commerce at Apple, her name is Angela Ernst. She used to be the CEO at Burberry, and she then moved to Apple, and then she since left. But she told this story about one time she got sent to some executive coaching, super high expensive coaching, And she shows up, and they started to tell her that she used her hands too much, and that, you know, the intonation of her voice was just not executive material. And so she promptly left this super expensive training, because, you know, that was an example where they were trying to tell her she needs to be more like a man, like you're talking about, Michelle. And so I think that practicing these comebacks is a way that you can challenge those when you're receiving feedback. Let's say your feedback in your performance review is about, hey, you know, people say that your voice is too, you know, up talk, or you talk with your hands too much. Maybe you can say something like, I think we should focus, or let's focus on what my content is. Here's my results. Here's my performance. Here's my feedback from my peers and my team. There are more ways to achieve results than in the way that you speak. You can also just ask people questions and not be confrontational. And so you can repeat to them what they just told you. So if they say, Michelle, you know, we've got feedback that your voice is too, you know, up talk. And you could repeat that and say, so my voice is too up talk. And then you just remain silent and see what the person says. And you begin a dialogue to really understand. And eventually you get to talking about, well, why should your voice matter, right? But the truth is, we do need leadership styles that are different, and we need the management of companies to recognize that there is not one way, and that just because companies' leadership was developed through the command and control culture coming out of, you know, the way that grew up in the 50s, that's just not, doesn't have to be that way anymore. So it's definitely a challenge, but we have to continue to provide constructive education to help overcome that. And we can also lead by example. So when you hear other people talk about it, even if it doesn't happen that often, practice these comebacks and begin to influence that kind of adoption of diversity in leadership style, diversity in voices and manners of speaking. I hope that was a little helpful. Does anybody else out there have any suggestions or comments on what Michelle said, and maybe what's worked for you and when you are confronted with subtle biases? Okay.
Elva, this is Rosalind. I have a thought, and I don't know how applicable, so, you know, stop me. I know with some Toastmasters training I have, the tone of your voice can be hurt. Like, some people have a hard time hearing tones as well. So I think from an educational perspective, people with, especially females with a higher pitch, some people have a hard time hearing them, and it's a matter of educating some people that, and you know, it's learning to accept all different types of voices and styles as well, right?
That's
My mother
right.
has a very harsh, a very heavy Spanish accent, and I think there's perceptions as well before she even, or as she just begins to talk as well. So there's patience, there's education, and there's different ways that I think we can combat this.
Yep. Great feedback, Rosalind. You're so right. So if it's about amplification and not being able to hear, then let's focus it on that. You know, can you speak louder? I can't hear you. But not in terms of this, you know, the voice drives me crazy. And then real quick, and now we're going to move into the breakout rooms, is just why it matters. It says it's a common criticism that women receive, right, about her voice. Research shows that women often get negative feedback on their speaking style while men do not. And by the way, throughout this program, you'll see footnotes on here. So there's a whole book of information that kind of has the background and the research papers on where these numbers are coming from. Okay.
Hey, Elba, before we move over, I just wanted to get Nancy Cranford to provide her comment.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Go ahead.
I was just going to maybe bring up that now with so much focus on being inclusive and diversity, it's a perfect time for us to speak up when we hear those comments. And earlier when I tried to I guess maybe, when I did the example, the first one, I tried to maybe not come across as correcting someone so much by saying, I thought that too, and realized how tacky that was. I tried to kind of subtly do it, but I don't know if I basically was calling them out for being tacky, which I don't know is all right. But I have thought that stuff before. The first thing might be, I love her shoes or her purse or something. I'm guilty of that. But I was just thinking maybe a good way for us to address one of those things might be, I know you believe in being inclusive and diversity, so maybe we need to really consider the ideas versus how the voice sounds. And, if it was one of my girlfriends, or I would even say, do we find ourselves saying that about a guy? Is that really fair, what we're doing to each other?
Right.
And kind of call it out like that, and include me.
Yep. I like that. Great feedback, Nancy. I like those, the perspective and the options. Okay, so let's spend the next few minutes. We're going to go into breakout rooms. So Kelly, if you don't mind copying and pasting that address back in the text in the chat box. So everyone, what you're going to do is I'm going to hit the breakout session part of the program, and what we're going to do is let me find it on here. Right, here we go, breakout rooms. We're going to separate out. The system will divide you up, and you're going to go to this website, and together in your breakout room, you're going to swipe through the remaining 12 situations, as many as you can get through, talk about them, but I want you guys to role play. So I want one person to read the biased comment, and then another person to say the words of how you can make a comeback, and maybe come up with your own as well. And then when we get back together, I'll give you a notice in your box on the screen. It'll tell you you have 30 seconds or 2 minutes, and then we'll get back into the main room and we'll debrief and talk about what you learned and what was the hardest or the most interesting about practicing. So does that make sense? So we're going to do this real quick. Let's see here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create the rooms, and we're going to go to the rooms. Ready? So we are going to hit, I'm going to do 4 breakout rooms. And once I hit this button, everyone's going to be asked to go into the breakout room. And then I'll send you a warning, and then we'll get back. Kelly, do you see, can I have some pluses to indicate that you are ready to go?
Can I ask, do we just minimize the Zoom screen to pull up?
Yes. Great.
Okay.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, so just minimize your Zoom screen, because you won't need Zoom, because this is kind of a side, or what you can do is, make sure you open another tab in your browser. So you can have the Zoom on one tab, and then create another tab where you're going to just go to Google screen or any browser and paste in this address into the web browser at the top. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about how to get to another browser?
Me.
Okay, Nancy, no problem. So if you can minimize your Zoom screen, and then on your computer, just look for how would you go to your search engine. Like if you were going to go run a search on something, whether it's Google or Yahoo or whatever, how would you open a new web browser? You know how you normally have, like if you're using Google Chrome or...
I got it.
Okay,
I got
yes.
it. My video was covering the tab and I couldn't minimize anything. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I bet you there's other people that have the same question. So, okay, let's make sure, I want to make sure everybody has another web browser open so that they can paste that web page in it and actively use the swiping feature. Does anybody else have any trouble getting to that one? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and click the button, and then I'll call you guys back in about 10 minutes or so, okay? Or 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, have fun. Okay, so you should be starting to see a message to join a breakout room. So click join. Look for the join button and you'll be sent to a breakout room where you'll be with other attendees. Okay, I am here and I can help. Is anybody having trouble joining a breakout room?
Oh, my computer's
I,
about to reboot, so I'm gonna have to reboot and then join the
Come back.
the
Okay.
meeting again. Yeah,
Okay,
so
Okay.
I
No
won't join
problem.
the breakout. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Who else is on that I can help with breakout joining? Anybody having trouble? It looks like everybody made it. Except Christine. We got Christine. Hey, Rosalind.
Hi there.
It looks like the system wouldn't let you automatically go back into a room. I tried to send you back into a room, but it didn't seem to let me.
Oh, well, no
That's
worries.
okay. People are coming back in a minute anyway. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Oh, I'm really enjoying working from home. It's
Yes.
definitely reduced the stress level.
For
How about for
many
you?
reasons too. Atlanta traffic,
Oh,
you know, a little less politics.
yeah, on so many levels. It's definitely
Mhm.
less stressful and a more balanced life, right?
Right.
It's so nice to see your name and your face. I'm so excited to see people.
I know. It's funny because I was gonna.
She came across as very unprofessional because she
Oh.
didn't comb her hair.
Hey, everybody. You guys are starting to come through back into the main room. So welcome back.
I finally figured out
Thank
how
you.
to swipe and everything.
Yay!
And then we ran out of time.
Yep. Nancy, you graduated.
All right.
It was a really great breakout, super informative, very helpful.
I thought it's kind of interesting. It makes you think about these things that we have heard before and we just weren't tuned into the fact that this is kind of a biased thing to say, you know, and how do we respond to it? I know it's not that much time that we have together, and probably in retrospect, we should get more into it quickly. So learning lessons, so we'll do that next time. But I hope it did give you a chance to explore some of these. And so maybe what we can do, let's flip through some, and I'd like to hear when we get to one that really resonated with you. I'd love to hear from the breakout rooms what really called out to you. Did anyone do this one about she's always shouting?
Yes, unless somebody else wants to take it.
Remember,
Go for it.
use a star if you want to speak,
Yeah.
or pluses if you just want to comment.
Okay. Yeah, Elba, I responded to this one in the breakout, and I said, when we looked at is she really shouting or is she just speaking with confidence? And I shared that I have been told I'm loud, and so and there have been occasions where people have talked about using some language at work and just different approaches to the frustrations and things that go on in a chaotic environment.
I think it's interesting if you read the screen, it says, point out that we need our leaders to speak with confidence. How interesting would it be next time you hear somebody said, man, she's always shouting, and you just say, hey, actually we need leaders to speak with confidence. It really will stun people because you normally don't hear people talk that way in response. So I love that comment, right? We need leaders that speak with confidence, don't we?
Perfect.
Another one, she seems aggressive. Boy, has anyone heard that before? Would you feel the same if a man did that? Right, so that's a great comeback. Would you feel the same if a man did that? And again, the minute we bring up gender at work, it makes people uncomfortable, and so it'll startle them. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this one? Feedback?
We actually thought about this quite a bit, and we touched on this comment. What does it really talk about? Is that the content? Is it the tone of voice? Is that the body language? So kind of the overall theme that we've discovered in our conversations, not just for this comment, but in general, is the second you start asking why would you make that comment? What makes you say this? Seems to be really kind of almost disarming to the other person and makes them stop and think, well, why really?
Yep,
So
Galena,
I think
like that.
It's more of an extra tool to say, well, what makes you say that? Without really attacking them and their point of view and making them to really clinch to it. Kind of say, huh, interesting. What makes you say that?
I like that. And here's another play on that that we learned in a negotiation tactic workshop. You can repeat the thing they said, right? So Galena, if somebody says, man, she seems really aggressive or she's really aggressive, then you would repeat to them, she seems really aggressive. Why would you say that? Or, you know, why do you think that? Exactly as you describe, in a non-confrontational way.
Yeah. And to go one step further on that, Alba, not just repeating the whole thing, but especially the last maybe 2 or 3 words. And I learned that from a book called Never Split the Difference.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. Recommend it to everybody I meet. But
Galena, that's exactly where I'm quoting from. We had a workshop on that book.
Excellent. Excellent. I absolutely love it. And so when somebody says, oh, she seems aggressive, and you say aggressive, and then just don't say anything else.
Silence.
People will fill that silence. So,
that's
and
right.
I'm going to stop going off on a tangent.
Okay. How about this one? Anybody talk about this one? She's so emotional.
Oh.
We sure hear that, right? But when men in a meeting get very loud and upset, visibly emotional, no one tells them that, oh, he's so emotional. They say, man, he is like, you know, passionate and committed. Right? So she just seems passionate to me. That's a good one. Anybody want to comment on ambitious? She's too ambitious.
Our question was, what does that even mean?
And again, we could use that tactic again, right? We can say too ambitious and then just see what they say, right? And then eventually you want to get to, don't we want a leader who is an ambitious, you know, we want ambitious leaders as a positive thing. Oh, this one's great, right? I just don't like her. What don't you like about her? So that we can be more specific and not general. She's so yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Kim, can you talk a little bit more about that one about you didn't like her hair?
Yeah, I was just getting into that example where I actually had someone, you know, tell me, I just don't like her hair. And I was like, her hair? What's wrong with her hair? And it kind of led to a conversation that really became very fruitful, because they said, well, it doesn't appear that she, you know, cares about her appearance because she doesn't comb her hair. And, you know, and so I was like, oh, tell me more. What other, you know, things can I, you know, understand about her appearance and her professionalism? And, you know, and so we had this really nice conversation as a result of them being able to say that to me. And then I was able to kind of counsel my employee a little bit on the importance of appearance as well. So, you know, I didn't agree or anything like that. I sought to understand where they were coming from, and it was all about being taken seriously from a professional appearance perspective.
Thanks, Kim, for your insights. And yes, it's a great point to try to take the conversation away from a general statement to a more specific that you can bring back to an individual, right? You know, what don't you like about her? Or in your case, right? What was it about her hair? And then you eventually drilled in and you identified something that you could actually use in a constructive way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're just going to switch through a couple more and then we'll call it a day because it's close to ending time. So I'm going to just scan through these, and if you see any you particularly want to talk about, let's do it. So we've got, she's so self-promotional. She doesn't seem tough enough. She doesn't have enough experience. And these are more election oriented. So is any group want to have one specifically they want to share a little bit more on that they discussed in their breakout session? Okay, well, we'll just, I'll just read the remaining ones. If she's something, you know, doesn't seem tough enough. Do the men seem tougher? How so? And if we want to go away from raising the gender, you know, we could just say, how so, right? Again, repeat what they said. Doesn't seem tough enough? How so? And then we can explore that a little bit more. The next one is she doesn't have enough experience. What experience do you think she's missing? Again, going from the generalization to getting more specific, right? I like this one a lot. What experience do you think she's missing? Okay, great. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you so much for your attention. Are there any closing questions or comments that anybody has?
Christine, do you want to talk a little bit about the experience one?
Yeah, I was just, looking to hear what else or what other, comebacks people might have for that one. I really love the example one there, but I hear that a lot, so I'm curious.
Yeah, does anyone have any specific on the experience? She doesn't have enough experience.
I might ask, I like the what experience do you think she's missing, but I might also ask, are you aware of what experience she does have?
Yeah, I love that.
Yep, that's a good one. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, that's definitely where I would go, is looking at what experience she does have, because there's so many times where it's all about the diversity, making sure that you have different people with different experiences that they can bring to the table and give you a different perspective.
That's right. And as Nancy pointed us out, we are living in a unique time where we've got so much support from all avenues about a new, renewed commitment to accepting diversity of thought, diversity of everything, that it's a great time. So listen, as we wrap up, I'd like to ask for your opinion on topics of interest to you. Like I said, we have 4 pillars at ShowMe50 around education, transparency, executive accountability, and workplace flexibility. We want to help women and men and, be more constructive at work. And so I threw up some topics, and I would like your answers on the types of topics that you would be interested in, and we'll bring those to you. Okay, so I'm going to give that just a little couple minutes more, and look out in your emails, and we'll see if we can talk about some of these topics. I appreciate your feedback. And then I'm going to ask you one last question, which is, we're a nonprofit organization, and we have a tiny budget. And so I'd like to get your opinion and interest in terms of, would you be willing to pay for some content sometimes? And I'm trying to get at kind of what price point occasionally would you be willing to fund our work through paying for a Lean In Circle meeting or the content. So if you can just let me know, then again, we'll work these into our model. As a nonprofit organization, we're always just striving to meet your needs and figure out how we can grow. Well, listen, I want to thank you very much for attending, for joining us. You've been great. And next time, I'm definitely going to add more time at the beginning to get right back into these breakout sessions, because they do seem to be where a lot of the interaction is very beneficial. So thank you. Please email me and contact me, elba@showme50.org, if you have comments or feedback or questions. Sound good? And thank you to Kelly Gonter for being our awesome chat moderator. You did a great job, Kelly.
Thank you, Elba. This was great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.
Take care. Thank you.
Discussion.
Bye.